Hi there, this is Kaushik Ranchod from the Ranchod Law Group. Welcome to our immigration show. Today we're going to talk about the PERM labor certification process, which is a type of green card process that can allow you to work in the United States, allow an employee to work in the United States permanently. So the PERM labor certification process is basically an online system where an employer or the attorney on behalf of the employer files the application online. But before you get to that step, before you get to that process, there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done. Through the PERM labor certification process, what it allows you to do is it allows you to apply for a green card once it has been certified. And if you haven't already, smash that like button. You can also post your comments below and make sure you subscribe to continue to get these videos. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what happens with the PERM application. The first step, an important step, is getting the prevailing wage determination. Now we're in COVID times, so everything is, with government processing times, we notice is slowing down, especially this prevailing wage determination. It's taking around 6 months or longer on average. So you want to allow plenty of time for the prevailing wage determination. So that basically says, yes, this is what should be paid for that wage by the government. After that's out of the way, then you can move on to the next steps. Now you might be asking, why does this need to be done? Well, the whole point of this PERM labor certification process is to make sure that qualified U.S. workers are hired for this position. And what we're seeing when we file for the application is that, or what is being demonstrated is that there's not qualified U.S. workers for the position as demonstrated through recruitment, which leads to the next step. You have to recruit for the position to see if there's qualified U.S. workers, and typically you as the employer know whether or not there are, otherwise you wouldn't be trying to recruit for this position. So we'll sit down with you and go over the recruitment plan to determine what would be appropriate recruitment. Some typical forms of recruitment are Sunday newspaper ads that may be required for certain positions. Additionally, online ads, in-house recruitment program, specialty publications, employer website. So you can see there's a lot of different choices. So that's what we like to sit down with you and create a customized plan for you to figure out what is the best approach. Not only that, but the rules require that there's specific language that, or specific information that must be in the ads. So that needs to be taken care of as well. The next step is the actual recruitment process. Now during the process, you must do the actual recruiting, interview anyone who is eligible for the position, and we'll work with you to set down like what are the guidelines on who would be considered eligible depending upon what the job description. We as the attorneys have to have an ethical arm's length distance during the recruitment process. So we can't be involved in the actual recruitment process, but what an attorney can do is guide you through the process so you know what the rules are to do proper recruitment. So once you go through the recruitment process, if there's no qualified U.S. workers that were found, then you can go on to the next step, which is actually filing the labor certification. So what we do as the attorney is prepare the PERM labor certification, file it online, and then it's a waiting game to get an approval and get the PERM certified to move on to the next steps. So that, keep in mind, this is just the first of 3 steps in this whole labor certification process. And you might be wondering, well, what kind of applications do you file? So we do it for many healthcare professionals, engineers, teachers, architects. So if you have questions, just connect with us and we can let you know if you qualify or if you're an employer. Just let us know. Depends upon the type of position, and also depending upon the type of position on whether it requires a bachelor's degree or master's degree, we'll put you into what's called an employment-based second preference or third preference, and that may determine how long it may take for you to get a green card. Also, while we're talking about the green card process, you may be wondering, like, how long is this going to take once I get certification? That's a very valid question. So it depends what country you're from, first of all, because if you're from China or India, That can take many years, 10 plus years, and depending upon what the visa bulletin is saying at that point of time. Those times are always changing, so you want to watch the visa bulletin. Now, if you're not from China or India, the priority date may be current. What does that mean? So the first step, let's back it up here. The first step here is filing the I-140 petition. That's where the employer, after the certification is approved, files an I-140 petition demonstrating that they have the ability to pay you, that you meet the requirements for the position. The I-140 petition is submitted. Now, you can file what's called a one-step with the green card application, the 485, if the priority date is current. So with, let's say you do a one-step, you can file the I-140, the 485, the work authorization, plus the travel document all at the same time. So this is advantageous for you if you want to get work authorization. Now, let's say you're from China and India, the priority dates are not available. Well, you can still move forward with the I-140, and you might wonder, well, it's taking so long, well, why should I bother to do this? Well, one reason is it allows you to extend your H-1B visa beyond 6 years if you have approved I-140 and the priority date's not current, or if you've had a perm pending for more than a year. So in those situations, you could extend your H-1B visa while you're waiting. So all is not lost. I hope this video serves you. And again, post your comments below, smash that like button, subscribe to get these videos. I want to hear from you, and stay tuned for next week's video. And if you want to see a video on a certain topic, post that as well. Bye for now.